Today, computer games make up a $100 billion worldwide industry, and almost 66% of American homes have family unit individuals who play computer games routinely. Furthermore, it's actually no big surprise. Video games have been around for quite a long time and length the range of stages, from arcade frameworks, to home consoles, to handheld consoles and cell phones. They're likewise regularly at the front line of PC innovation. The early days. Despite the fact that computer games are discovered today in homes around the world, they really got their beginning in the examination labs of researchers. In 1952, for example, British teacher A.S. Douglas made OXO, otherwise called noughts and crosses or a spasm tac-toe, as a feature of his doctoral exposition at the University of Cambridge. Furthermore, in 1958, William Higginbotham made tennis for two on a huge simple PC and associated oscilloscope screen for the yearly Guests' Day at the Brookhaven National Laboratory in Upton, New York. In 1962, Steve Russell at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology concocted Spacewar, a PC-based space battle computer game for the PDP-1, Programmed Data Processor 1, at that point a frontline PC for the most part found at colleges. It was the principal computer game that could be played on various PC establishments. Daybreak of the home console. In 1967, designers at Sanders Associates, Inc., drove by Ralph Baer, imagined a model multiplayer, multi-program computer game framework that could be played on a TV. It was known as the Brown Box. Baer, who's occasionally alluded to as father of video games, authorized his gadget to Magnavox, which offered the framework to customers as the Odyssey, the primary computer game home reassure, in 1972. Over the course of the following not many years, the crude Odyssey support would monetarily fail and vanish. However, one of the Odyssey's 28 games was the motivation for Atari's Pong, the principal arcade computer game, which the organization delivered in 1972. In 1975, Atari delivered a home rendition of Pong, which was pretty much as effective as its arcade partner. Magnavox, alongside Sanders Associates, would in the long run sue Atari for copyright encroachment. Atari settled and turned into an Odyssey licensee. Throughout the following 20 years, Magnavox proceeded to win more than $100 million in intellectual property claims identified with the Odyssey and its computer game licenses. In 1977, Atari delivered the Atari 2600, otherwise called the Video Computer System, a home support that highlighted joysticks and tradable game cartridges that played multi-hued games, successfully commencing the second era of the computer game consoles. The computer game industry had a couple of outstanding achievements in the last part of the 1970s and mid-1980s, including the arrival of the Space Invaders arcade game in 1978. The dispatch of Activision, the principal outsider game designer, which creates programming without making consoles or arcade cupboards, in 1979. The prologue to the United States of Japan's colossally famous Pac-Man. Nintendo's formation of Donkey Kong, which acquainted the world with the character Mario. Microsoft's arrival of its first flight simulator game. The video game crash. In 1983, the North American computer game industry encountered a significant crash because of various components, including an oversaturated game comfort market, rivalry from PC gaming, and an overflow of over-advertised, bad-quality games, for example, the notorious E.T., an Atari game dependent on the eponymous film and frequently viewed as the most noticeably awful game at any point made. 2 or 3 years, the accident prompted the liquidation of a few home PC and computer game support organizations. The computer game home industry started to recuperate in 1985 when the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, called Famicom in Japan, went to the United States. The NES had improved 8-digit designs, shadings, sound and ongoing interaction over past comforts. Nintendo, a Japanese organization that started as a playing card producer in 1889, delivered various significant computer game establishments still around today, like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid. Moreover, Nintendo forced different guidelines on outsider games produced for its framework, assisting with combating surged, bad quality programming. Outsider designers delivered numerous other dependable establishments, for example, Capcom's Mega Man, Konami's Castlevania, Square's Final Fantasy, and Enix's Dragon Quest. Square and Enix would later converge to frame Square Enix in 2003. In 1989, Nintendo made waves again by advocating handheld gaming with the arrival of its 8-bit Game Boy computer game gadget and the regularly packaged game Tetris. Throughout the following 25 years, Nintendo would deliver various effective replacements to the Game Boy, including the Game Boy Tone in 1998, Nintendo DS in 2004, and Nintendo 3DS in 2011. The First Console War. Likewise, in 1989, Sega delivered its 16-cycle Genesis Comfort in North America as a replacement to its 1986 Sega Master System, which neglected to sufficiently contend with the NES. With its mechanical prevalence over the NES, astute promoting, and the 1991 arrival of the Sonic the Hedgehog game, the Genesis gained critical ground against its more seasoned adversary. In 1991, Nintendo delivered its 16-bit Super NES Reassure in North America, dispatching the main genuine Comfort War. The right on time to mid-1990s saw the arrival of an abundance of well-known games on the two consoles, including new establishments like Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat, a battling game that portrayed violence on the Genesis adaptation of the game. Because of the Savage game, just as legislative hearings about vicious computer games, Sega made the Video Game Rating Council in 1993 to give unmistakable marking to each game sold on a Sega home support. The committee later offers assent to the business-wide Entertainment Software Rating Board, which is as yet utilized today to rate computer games dependent on content. During the 1990s, computer games jumped to the big screen with the arrival of the Super Mario Bros. Surprisingly realistic film in 1993, trailed by Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat over the course of the following 2 years. Various films dependent on computer games have been delivered since. With a lot bigger library of games, lower value point, and fruitful advertising, the Genesis had jumped in front of the SNES in North America at this point. In any case, Sega couldn't discover comparable achievement in Japan. The rise of 3D gaming. With a jump in PC innovation, the fifth era of computer games introduced the three-dimensional time of gaming. In 1995, Sega delivered in North America its Saturn framework, the initial 32-digit support that messed around on CDs instead of cartridges, 5 months early. This move was to beat Sony's initial invasion into computer games, the PlayStation, which sold for $100, not exactly the Saturn when it dispatched sometime thereafter. The next year, Nintendo delivered its cartridge-based 64-bit framework, the Nintendo 64. In spite of the fact that Sega and Nintendo each delivered something reasonable of profoundly appraised, on-brand 3D titles, for example, Virtua Fighter on the Saturn and Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64, the set-up computer game organizations couldn't contend with Sony's solid outsider help, which helped the PlayStation secure various restrictive titles. Basically, Sony overwhelmed the computer game market and would keep on doing as such into the future. Indeed, the PlayStation 2, delivered in 2000 and ready-to-play unique PlayStation games, would turn into the smash hit game Reassure Ever. The PlayStation 2, which was the main Reassure that pre-owned DVDs, went facing the Sega Dreamcast, delivered in 1999, the Nintendo GameCube, 2001, and Microsoft's Xbox, 2001. The Dreamcast, considered by numerous individuals to be forward-thinking and probably the best comfort at any point made for a few reasons, including its capacity for internet gaming, was a business flop that finished Sega's support endeavors. Sega reassessed the framework in 2001, turning into an outsider programming organization hereafter. Current age of gaming. In 2005 and 2006, Microsoft's Xbox 360, Sony's PlayStation 3, and Nintendo's Wii commenced the advanced period of superior quality gaming. Despite the fact that the PlayStation 3, the lone framework at an opportunity to play blue beams, was fruitful in its own right. Sony, interestingly, confronted firm rivalry from its opponents. The Xbox 360, which had comparable design capacities to the PlayStation 3, was commended for its internet gaming environment and dominated undeniably more Match Critics awards than different stages in 2007. It likewise highlighted the Microsoft Kinect, a cutting-edge movement catch framework that offered an alternate method to play computer games. However, the Kinect never got on with center gamers or game engineers. Also, in spite of being mechanically substandard compared to the next two frameworks, the Wii destroyed its opposition in deals. Its movement-delicate controllers made gaming more dynamic than any time in recent memory, encouraging it appeal to a lot bigger cut of the overall population, remembering individuals for retirement homes. Towards the decade's end and start of the following, computer games spread to web-based media stages like Facebook and cell phones like the iPhone, arriving at a more easygoing gaming crowd. Rovio, the organization behind the Angry Birds cell phone game, and, later Angry Birds Enlivened film, apparently made an incredible $200 million of every 2012. In 2011, Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure brought video games into the physical world. The game required players to place plastic toy figures, sold separately, onto an accessory, which reads the toy's NFC tags to bring the characters into the game. The next few years would see several sequels and other toy video game hybrids, such as Disney Infinity, which features Disney characters. The eighth and current generation of video games began with the release of Nintendo's Wii U in 2012, followed by the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in 2013. Despite featuring a touchscreen remote control that allowed off-TV gaming and being able to play Wii games, the Wii U was a commercial failure, the opposite of its competition, and was discontinued in 2017. In 2016, Sony released a more powerful version of its console, called the PlayStation 4 Pro, the first console capable of 4K video output. In early 2017, Nintendo released its Wii U successor, the Nintendo Switch, the only system to allow both television-based and handheld gaming. Microsoft will release its 4K-ready console, the Xbox One X, in late 2017. With their new revamped consoles, both Sony and Microsoft currently have their sights set on virtual reality gaming, a technology that has the potential to change the way players experience video games.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.